Hello and welcome to the RWBY podcast. I am your host and also the manifestation of Zorro's non-existent Conqueror's Hockey Mediocrity 4.
It is I, high-powered, braving the terrors of the Shadowlands and terrible internet connections and overloaded servers. It is me, high-powered.
I am so shocked that we had 3 good episodes in a row that I stopped caring about Renora a little bit. I am dude.
Progress!
Yeah.
You see, with Dude, it's like his copium is just Renora, so like there's just an image of Dude like sucking onto like an air tank, and just on the side of it's labeled Renora.
If nothing else is going good, that's all I care about. But if the show's actually going good, I still care about it, but I can care about other things too.
It's like when a heroin addict does cocaine for the first time, and the high is a little different.
A normal conversation. Coop.
Hey guys, I'm the guy who gets into super normal conversations all the time and then talks about cocaine. I'm Coop.
And I have a question. If Cinder causes a problem for Salem, which we know she's about to do, isn't that a Cinder fault?
Yes.
Yes. I am here, and I'm stuck.
I'll tell you what, man, like, I don't know if it's a fault yet. I gotta whip out the multimeter real quick and take some readings on that. I don't know if you got a short there or not.
Oh, no.
But seriously, we got 3 good episodes. We got 3 good episodes in a row.
Yeah,
Why?
I know.
That doesn't happen
it's
very often.
it's kind of weird.
It's been like 2. It's been like we'll have a good 2, and I'll still be happy with even the mediocre ones. But
there's things you can nitpick in this episode, but like even the cringe posting that Ren was doing is like I understand why they're doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm just worried that like the payoff's just gonna be like, okay, Ren's just gonna like sit in gay baby jail for like a little bit to cool off.
But so far they're doing well, so I'm gonna start getting optimistic about it. To me, the thing is, I don't entirely agree with everything he said, but I'm glad there is a character in the show who is saying that stuff, if that makes sense, right? That's what I like about it. Like, I don't entirely agree. I think he's wrong, but I also think it's good that somebody is having those opinions and is also saying that they did fuck up a lot of stuff, because they didn't do a lot of things right. So I'm glad he is saying that. The only thing I actually didn't like about this episode was Crow's dialogue was pretty crap. But other than that, I really liked this episode in pretty much every other way.
I made it deal with darkness.
Yeah, that was really bad. I mean, that was really bad. Like the Ren lines were not as bad as that. But like the stuff that actually happened, what they're trying to do with everything, I thought was good.
Crow's lines sound like they belong in a fucking DMC game, not in RWBY. That doesn't seem to jive really well.
I mean, the context of what he's talking about was pretty much point for what we have been saying. It's like
I don't know.
It was just worded like, you know, it's like normal. It's like regular wording and then chuny kind of like wording.
I mean,
and the pronoun game too also.
That's a little bit, yeah, but like I don't know, guys. Like I feel like this whole getting quality episodes one after the other thing is like, you guys remember that Russian roulette game in Deer Hunter where they click it like 5 times, and I think that's going to end up being a lot like that probably.
You mean Russian roulette with the cum gun?
That wasn't expecting a Deer Hunter reference.
Oh gosh, I remember that. I remember that part in Call of Duty Black Ops 2. That was pretty brutal.
Yeah. Well, they ripped off Deer Hunter specifically in that scene, actually, and the devs literally said it later. They were like, "Yeah, we watched Deer Hunter because they told us to watch Nom movies about shit." We'll say this. They did not rip off the coolest scene of Deer Hunter, which is the final one where the guy was like, "We raped that chick."
Normal conversation.
Okay, then.
Normal conversation.
Also, friendly reminder that Cyberpunk won't be coming out anytime soon.
Oh, yeah.
If at all.
Better to delay it and make it good. then have it come up at. Also, reminder that Nintendo are completely trash and trying to destroy the Melee scene. Fuck Nintendo.
Oh
Nintendo
yes,
sucks.
I
Do
heard
not support
about this.
Nintendo.
But we should
In
talk
other
about the
words,
episode.
The sky is blue,
we
dude.
so.
Like,
really
what
should.
the fuck?
Yeah.
So save Smash, free Melee.
It's never going to
So
Yeah, I know, but I'm gonna try.
off with, yeah, so is there really anything of note in the crow scene other than his edgy dialogue? Like, I didn't hate
No.
Robin in this episode.
No,
once.
Robin's.
I do think it's kind of funny that she was like, "Oh yeah, Crow, I totally understand where you're coming from. I have a truth-telling semblance, which makes it really hard for me to like have
a relationship.
Friends, I guess, because people don't like being open with their friend." She was kind of being dumb, but
I
less
get what
dumb
she's
than
trying to do.
usual.
She's trying to be sympathetic to him. I get that's what she's trying to do. I think so. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt on this.
Yeah, I give her a real hard pass, and also too, like, we have Jock just like trying to swat the fly. That's some enhanced interrogation techniques right there. Is they put like bugs inside the cell to freak you out. But I was gonna say, Watts definitely knows about enhanced interrogation after, after he got clocked out at the leather club, got worked over like the pipe worker he was.
Oh god,
that's right. I mean, it is 2 blocks down the street for a reason. Okay, guys.
But no, like, I kind of like the dynamic between the 3 of them. Actually, like those 3 stuck together in a box. I don't know how they're making it work, but it does.
It's content.
Yeah, literally just besides Crow's specific dialogue, and even like the sentiment he's expressing, I don't necessarily disagree with either. It's just how he said it. Yeah, it's just the wording was bad. So it's still not horrible. Like
because he basically admitted to the thing we had been saying the whole time, that yeah, teaming up with a serial killer is kind of a dumb move, Crow. You probably shouldn't have done that.
But he made a deal with the darkness.
I'm like, yeah, just it's like,
hello, darkness,
if he made a deal with the darkness, does that mean that he believes in a little thing called love?
Oh, yeah.
And that we should just listen to the rhythm of his heart.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's true. We do. But like, the rhythm of his heart apparently tells him to fucking team up with serial killers.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all established, like, other than that line, this is like, there was just bad decisions all around. But the second part of the scene was actually a lot more like, it was a lot more exciting for me than just kind of like the beginning part was nice, but it was nice, but like the second part was way more exciting. Where Robin's just like straight, like, open up this cage, let's go, bring it.
Hope, actually, though, now that I think about it, that Crow recognizing his own bad decision there would enable him to recognize Robin's bad decision and call her out on it, whereas she seems to be like trying to justify his actions to him at this point. And like,
that's kind of weird.
Maybe to a little extent that's so because she's already foreseeing this possible fucking call out and is like, oh shit, if he realizes he fucked up, he almost certainly realizes that everyone else around him also fucked up except Tyrion. And fucking he might fucking call me on it.
I know we said this when that episode came out, but like, how come the only one that was making any kind of logical sense in that entire sequence was the one who is actually insane?
I don't see, actually,
sometimes
I think the only thing Tyrion's actually insane about is his devotion to Salem. I think otherwise he's actually a pretty intelligent guy. So
I agree with that.
I don't think he was like necessarily making logical sense. I think he lucked out in a really weird way, and he was just like, okay, let's roll with it. Fucking, this is like, hold on, this is like Tyrion somehow luckily getting shot in a way that enables him to escape handcuffs, luckily somehow crashing a ship into a luckily uninhabited zone that they were luckily flying over for some strangely lucky reason that doesn't make sense given that Atlas is right directly over Mantle, and then luckily having the idea come across his mind that he could possibly maybe convince Crow to join his side, and then luckily having the most unlucky guy say, yeah, you know what? That sounds like a good idea, even though that's a fucking retarded idea for me to do.
So what you're saying is Clover's semblance was working, but it was only working for Tyrion.
Yes.
Possibly?
Yeah, that's what it is. Tyrion's just like, oh yes, my true semblance, plot armor. Fucking it.
I mean, like, you know, even then, like, as far as that goes, I cannot say that contrived than Char's backstory from Origin. This is beyond it doesn't quite make that level, but it gets close as fuck to it.
Yeah. So I know Harriet comes in with Marrow, and I do like this is probably why I kind of like Robin in the scene. Because she straight up says that, you know, people in this situation, they don't care about the truth, they just want someone to blame, which, you know, if you look at, you know, the entire idea of cancel culture and stuff is very true, but it kind of takes the wind out of its sails when you realize that the person saying these things literally has a truth telling semblance, and that Harriet knows this, and so that, like, you know, the reason why the whole justice system exists is because we don't have, like, actual magical truth telling semblances, and that's why these kinds of conversations are very pertinent to our society, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for
Well, I think
Atlas because of Robin's existence.
And
I
remember,
think
we do live in society.
I think we've already discussed this. Robin also has her own very clear agenda, and her truth-telling semblance enables her to understand whether or not someone else is telling the truth. It doesn't oblige her to tell the truth about whether or not they are lying.
That could be, but then I would use it on, like, Crow. Like let her and Crow be in the same room and have her ask Crow with witnesses and stuff.
Also, the other thing is that you have to remember her semblance lets people know if they're telling the truth. Like, she's got basically Toph powers, right? But she can't tell if they're correct or wrong. She can only tell if they believe they're telling the truth, right? There is a big distinction there.
Yeah.
Yeah, fact and truth are not necessarily.
And truth is stranger than fiction.
To quote a famous anime, just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right.
Ah, yes, I love that one. It was so philosophical.
That's true.
I actually like that show, but yeah, that's.
Hold on, what show was that?
Fate Stay Night, a writhing tentacle monster of an anime series.
That's Fate Unlimited.
Both in the literal.
It's Fate Unlimited Blade Works.
What was it like? The archer class is the family of archers.
It's when Shiro was talking to Shiro.
If you want
to, that's what made it even funnier. He's literally talking to himself, saying, "Just because you're correct doesn't mean you're right." It's the best scene ever.
We'll say this: if you want to know how somebody can
that's a big spoiler.
If you want to know how somebody can be an archer without ever fucking arching, watch Fate, because it'll tell you.
Oh yeah.
By which it won't fucking tell you why the fuck he's an archer. It will never fucking address this.
I watched that show with my brother, and because he really likes that series, and he showed me Zero, and I liked Zero, and then I watched Unlimited Blade Works with him, and I would like ask him questions like, "Do they ever explain this?" And he's like, "No, they never explain that. Don't worry about it." Got it.
The only thing about
at least I'll accept, because he works by shooting money at you, basically.
Gilgamesh.
Yeah. The only thing about Fate that I can appreciate at the very end of it, no matter where I am, is the fact that it made me appreciate Keijo's joke more.
Yeah.
Always appreciate Keijo.
Yeah, don't appreciate Keijo, actually. Keijo has been completely stripped of its title of Best Aquatic Sports Anime of Girls with Big Titties by Kandagawa Jet.
I have to watch Jet Girls. So
Yes, you
now I'm
do.
interested.
Everyone does.
I've never heard of that, but I am interested now.
Yes,
Um,
imagine if you will, IGPX, but with jet skis instead of mech suits and big titty bitches instead of simps for tomboys. And you
Nice.
have Kandagawa jet girls.
I am
we'll have to
liking
see.
this
Sounds pretty
already.
good.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to call it like blasphemy.
So the next scene is
Uh,
the
I
canyon
will
chase
say
scene.
I will say this
They're pod
first off.
racing. No one did a barrel roll.
Yeah,
I-
nobody
I-
pressed Z or R twice. I'm very disappointed. They didn't listen to Peppy, which is disappointing. But
yeah. So yeah, there was a chase scene. I liked. I really liked Jean throughout this entire episode.
I was
I
so
like that
happy.
he he had two cool ideas, which is more than he usually has in an entire volume. He did the shield boosting with Rin, where he actually used like the hard light dust to like launch Rin even further than just his strength would. I have no idea how that
But
works,
he
but
used the gravity dust. He used
and then
gravity dust. It was purple.
and then he had he did the hard light shield that he showed off earlier in the volume.
Yeah, for the ramp.
And he used that as a ramp.
I think the one, yeah, and I have to comment on this scene specifically. RWBY has not gotten like my heart to speed up like in a long time, and I was actually like, I noticed like, wow, my heart's beating a little bit faster during this scene. Like, I'm actually kind of excited. I'm really interested. I'm really into this scene.
Yeah,
like I'm not saying it's perfect, but I was like, wow, this is actually kind of good. This is a cool chase scene. What the hell? Like
it
nice.
was like a decent and cool cool chase scene, especially once John had gotten Ren up, and then once the Hound's like, "Hey, yo, fam, come help me out!
I need assistance."
It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, like that was really cool. Like they did a lot of actually clever things, and I don't know. It's weird that like we have to say it that way, but like it's true that was really awesome.
Yeah, because it's also like the Ren's POV when he was like actually grabbing up there, and then him also like getting knocked around. It was just like, oh man, there was just so many things to that.
Yeah, it was an excellent put together thingy.
I think part of it from a production standpoint is that it felt fast. Like a lot of times when characters are running in the show, it looks like they're just running on icicles, where they're just like barely they're running, but they're moving at a speed that they could just walk because running animation is hard, I guess. And their feet never like really touch the ground because they're scared of like having them accidentally fall through the world when it's rendering. But this with it being speeder bikes and with the amount of the flying grim, I can't remember what they're called, but the dragon guys flying around in the centipedes coming out of the ground, and then the hound.
Like
Everything felt like it was going really fast, which made it really cool when another Jean moment when Jean's engine like goes out and he has to like jump off of his bike, do this insane flip onto this ridge, and then get caught by Yang. Like it made moments like that feel really awesome.
if I had to,
like it did. That was
John
out,
lands
just
behind
one thing.
Yang, and she's like, "Why is your sword poking me? That's not my sword."
If I had to just the only thing about it that I didn't really like was just that the sound effects seemed kind of dull in relation to it. Like it seemed like everything was sounding pretty soft, and that might have just been me. I don't know. But
I didn't notice, but then again, I didn't pay attention enough, so I'm not saying you're wrong. This might be something I would have noticed.
Like
on another
I got really good headphones, so.
Yeah, it seemed to me like when Jean was like chopping through the things, and this might have been like if I had to say like a reason behind it, this might have been that they were trying to imitate fucking like earshot distance with it, so that's why it seemed a little bit quiet. But I don't know, it just threw me off slightly with it. Overall, like that was the only thing I was like with about it. Otherwise it was all pretty good.
I don't know. Like, as the John stan, like I'm just happy to see my boy get some.
Well,
love.
yeah, all that he needed to be competent was a motorcycle, apparently.
He did. No, he didn't.
Yeah, actually, my one little mini kind of issue with this was that they still did a little thing where he was clumsy for a second. I'm like, is he not over that already? Like, do we really need that at this point? But it did destroy the whole thing.
He's the Ron. I mean, to steal Secure's bit, John is Ron Stoppable in this universe. So
yeah.
Okay, that's fair, I guess.
Yeah, he's basically Ron Stoppable. The one thing me and Secure actually agree on is John.
I still feel like that's a bit of overkill. I still feel like that wasn't necessary, but
legit,
you know, it's
legit. They had it handled in Volume 4. Like Volume 4, it was settled, and then they brought it back in Volume 5, super fucking hard.
Yeah.
And then Volume 6, they evened it back out a little bit.
Well, the question is, sorry.
No, that's fine. We keep going.
Oh, so the question is like, well, why would he stop being kind of like weird, like kind of klutzy here? Then, like, not really just really he's been doing that stuff like the past couple episodes.
Because
yeah, I guess
the
it's
man.
Same day.
Well, like, okay, so typically, when somebody has been doing combat stuff for a long time, like Jean has, they stop being really klutzy about it.
Yeah, that's my point. It's not about this. Yeah, it's not this episode specifically, Sock. It's about all the episodes recently. He should not be doing this at all anymore. Yeah,
it's a holistic.
I just know. All I know is that he's not really good with like motion stuff, like as far as like vehicles.
But he's been training for so long that he should no longer be that bad with motion stuff.
He has had actual on the ground experience, and
on the ground experience.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, you know, it's. I'm gonna be real with you guys. Cavalry charges is actually way easier than on foot fighting. Do you know what you have to do with a cavalry charge? That was basically what we're.
You hit someone with the end of a pointy stick while you're on top of a horse.
You hit some, or you just hit them with the fucking horse.
Yeah, there's that.
It doesn't fucking matter. You just fucking run straight at them, kind of fine tune where your pointy stick is pointing so that as you approach to make sure that they aren't getting out of the way of your pointy stick, and then you hit them with your pointy stick, and you don't even fucking swing your pointy stick to hit them in form. You literally just hold it out at a certain angle. Cavalry charges is the easiest shit fucking ever.
Okay,
but yeah, like it's. I mean, like here's the thing though, like that's something that I don't mind sticking because it's kind of like it's just a character trait that's stuck, and I don't mind it staying. It's kind of like I mean, like, well, that's the thing though. It's like John is competent whenever like he needs to be 100% competent. Like even John was able to like like forgive Ren for what he said because
he's matured. He's matured.
There's no reason to get upset about this sort of stuff, even though like Ren's edge machine is like summoning forth like a lake monster of some kind.
Ren, if you will, is currently the storm that is approaching, whereas Jean has gotten rid of all of those voices inside of his head.
So what you're saying is they lack motivation.
Yes.
Are you feeling motivated, Ren?
Speaking of Ren and stuff, let's go ahead and skip to what I think is the meat of this episode, which is they failed to stop the Hound. Widely because Ren had latched onto the Hound, but then he had to let go to save Jean and Yang from falling off a cliff. They get stuck out in the tundra, no vehicles. Because all their bikes broke, and Ren is just really on edge, and he kind of calls out the entire group. Now he says that RWBY is just a kid. They shouldn't be the ones making these decisions. That like every decision they've made is wrong, and that like he doesn't know what's right, but he thinks that none of them should be the ones deciding what is right. And at the end of his whole rant, he drops the bomb of Jean of Ruby's just a kid, he's just an orphan, and Jean cheated his way into Beacon, and so he's like doubly not worthy of being a huntsman.
Yeah, and I thought this was I know I'm sure some people didn't like this scene and what he did and everything, and you know it could end up being bad, but as of right now, I like this because we knew something was wrong with Ren, and we kind of this is having him actually say all this stuff out loud, like actually express all of this, is so much better than what we were getting before, which was him showing like now we know why he was simping for Ironheart. You know what I mean? Now we know why he's being so anti-Nora and shit. And I love that Yang I think it was Yang who specifically said, "Are you trying to push everybody away?" Because clearly she was referencing like him pushing Nora away as well, right? I'm glad we're at least getting an explanation for why he's acting like a total tool bag right now.
He's just been passive aggressive for like the past.
Yeah.
I don't think that was particularly good because that was Yang is like a total bitch this episode as far as you ask me because of that partially because she didn't try to actually come back on it or refute any of it. She was just she just took a personal shot, which is like a fucking low blow move and really fucking healy. But like as far as Ren goes, the only thing I really kind of disagreed with him on there was the Jean thing because again, Jean is experienced in combat now. He has his skills maxed out. He grinded. He fucking he got his fucking build correctly.
He
set
paid
up.
for the boost in that one Ganeshi Impact game.
He went on in the comments section of Steam and asked for advice on which route to go down, and some guys on there in the community hub were like very helpful with that, and so that he's good now. So him cheating his way into Beacon no longer matters. That was kind of Ren's pot shot there, as far as I understand of the other stuff. And so like I'll give him that, but on everything else, he's kind of correct. And I can see this going one of two ways with him in regards to his relation with others and how that will be resolved. Okay, assuming it ever is even resolved. One is the way in which I would likely consider it to be most likely resolved, given the track record of the writers, in that he will just admit he was wrong about everything, even though he was actually right about a lot of that stuff, and come back over to the good side, and everything will be hunky-dory and chill. Or there will be a bit of a synthesis here where everybody will stop and think about shit for a second and be like, okay, yeah, and me and High Powered were talking about this before. They'll be like, yes, keep moving forward is a cool thing to do, but every so often you must
check the map. You got to look at the compass.
Yeah, see which direction exactly it is that forward is, so that you know where the fuck you're going.
Agreed. And it would be better, obviously, and I do agree with you as well that most likely the writers are going to go with option A. The thing is, I'm going to be positive right now just because, like, look, I don't have super high expectations for this show, and right now this volume is vastly exceeding them, right? So even if they only go with option A, at least we got this, because I really wanted to know just how far he was thinking with all this. I was getting sick of him just being an Ironheart, like being a soldier boy for Ironwood, and like just pushing Nora away and all that stuff. I wanted a bit more. Now I'm still expecting to learn more about why Nora specifically is getting pushed away, but at least we're getting some actual we're actually getting explanation for character actions. Oh my gosh, we're learning how
this episode's so good that it's messing you up.
That's good. Thank you. At least we got that.
I can't fucking deny.
I was talking with Kitty about this earlier. Um, so yes, this whole motivation. Rin was probably feeling this way before things even started going south in Volume 7. Like, he was probably thinking this as soon as they got their license, that, like, they didn't really earn it, that all they did was do a fetch quest, and now they were having all these responsibilities, which is why he left things up to the more experienced Ironwood, thinking that he was more deserving of making the right call. Um, and the thing is, him and Nora are the only ones who have actually seen entire settlements wiped out by Grimm. None of the other characters have experienced that. Everyone else, they saw the fall of Beacon. They saw a single school go down because of a joint effort between the Grimm, the White Fang, and Cinder. They weren't there for Kuro Yuri. They weren't there when an entire Grimm horde wiped out an entire town. So with that thing happen, with that kind of scenario happening on a much grander scale with Mantle and Atlas, it's probably frustrating him that Nora is being this farsighted, where she's going with RWBY to warn the rest of the world and not like doing the more short term evacuation of Mantle where they are needed and where they can absolutely do some good, because for all they know, warning the rest of the world right now, it could create panic in the other kingdoms, which can create other grim attacks, what have you. So this episode, with what Ren's explanation was, it made me like this subplot a lot more, because it now where I was having issues before, it makes perfect sense now why Ren is just doing what he can,
Mm.
and why and the logic behind like why Yang, Oscar, and Jean would be in agreement with him. And it makes me also see how he and Nora differ. And this was also pointed out by someone in the comments on the Volume 8 Episode 1 podcast, I think. I think it was Dar, actually, who I know from Twitter. Pointed out that, like, no, it's not really that they're going against their original ideals. It's that we kind of misinterpreted what their original the logic behind their original goals in Volume 7, because it was poorly conveyed, maybe, or we're just dumb. Whatever the case is, we now have a much clearer picture on where Ren and Nora are coming from, and Nora is knocked unconscious in this episode. Like, they managed to like give her development without her even being in the episode, by using the pre-established relationship between her and Ren, and what we saw from them in Volume 4, and how it reflects back on this volume and the last volume. And it just, things just started clicking for me in a way that they hadn't in a long time.
Yeah, that was why I really liked, another good reason for why like it's important that Ren said what he said, because it actually retroactively made episode 1 of this volume better, which I was never expecting to have happen. So that was nice. As media said, like, actually it explains it retroactively makes volume 7 a bit better, honestly, a little bit too. And not saying that actually makes the episode actually better, but like it makes more sense now. So in a way, it makes you, as an audience member, it makes it less crappy because you understand more of what's going on. So that's good too. So I really and I agree. It definitely made me care a lot more about this plot line, because it's funny, because like we knew they weren't going to get Oscar, right? Like we knew them getting Oscar was not going to happen, right? So I was like, why are we going to care about this side of the story, right? And they made us care about this side of the story, so that's pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, like, hopefully they don't just fucking. Hopefully it leads a little bit more of somewhere, and nobody is just like shutting Ren out to the point where he basically just has to turn leaf and go over to thinking like them, and they actually are like, yeah, one or two of them could actually side with him and be like, yeah, actually Ren is kind of right about this.
No, I think it's good.
Even John said he was like, it's like, Ren, you're right, but like,
yeah,
It's like because John, he's not snapping at anyone. He's not saying like, Ren, you need to like think how we're thinking. He understands where Ren's coming from. He just wants it's like Ren just needs to get more stuff off his chest so John can understand him better. Like that's all it is. He's not as I don't know. He's pushing people away when like John's like the only one that would be more on his side.
Well,
and as like you guys mentioned earlier, just because you're like literally just because like there's the whole like moving forward and then check the map thing. It's like no one has to move forward in the same direction.
Yeah, and like another thing about that, which is like a little bit more of a thing that I don't particularly like. Y'all guys know me. I'm a fucking social butterfly. I will talk to literally anybody about literally fucking anything.
Yeah, you have no filter. You're just like you
great.
have no nuance about anything.
And we love you for it.
Yes, okay. But even I am wise enough to know that sometimes people need a little bit of time alone. And them trying to, coax Rin over might just cause him to like shut himself off more. Like Rin has always been a very introverted type of dude, and I would immediately, if it had been me, recognize that and be like, you know what, I could be like Jean and try to coax him over by saying, hey man, like, I get it and all, but you gotta come over to us and stop isolating yourself. I would have been like, look, man, if you need to isolate yourself for a little while, just go ahead and do it. Don't worry about it, okay? If Yang tries to give you shit over taking some alone time, tell me. I'll give her shit over giving you shit.
I mean, that's what they're doing right now. It's like Yang's just making sure he doesn't freeze himself to death outside.
Well, no, like,
I'm glad they pushed him. I'm glad they pushed him enough for us to get the damn explanation, though.
Yeah,
like, we needed that.
Yeah, to me, it's like I definitely think it's good that someone has to be like the voice of. I don't even want to say like the voice of reason. Someone at least needs to be the skeptic in the group. Someone needs to vibe check them every once in a while.
Yes.
We would say the skeptic's usually wise, but we're getting
I think the thing with Ren is that what he's saying isn't wrong, and I think that some of them even know that. I think really the issue is just the way he's saying it and kind of the way he's like talking about it. It's like, yeah, but like, because the thing is like, yeah, he's right, but at the same time he's kind of wrong because like, well, they have to try to do something. It is their job now. It's like whether or not they deserve it, it's still their job. If you want, at this point, the right thing to do is to try to do something.
Yes, they do need to do some stuff. They still do need to take action. I think, like I said, hopefully this leads them to being like, well, yes, Ren, you're right. We need to be a little bit more conscious of what the fuck actions we're about to take before we take them from now on. Because we can't go around divulging top secret information to terrorist cells anymore. And like, I mean,
yeah, no, and it's that's the thing. That's why it's so great. It's interesting enough on its own as implications for the show as a whole that you'll notice we've talked about Ren this whole time, and I haven't even mentioned the implications for Renora yet.
Yeah. It's possibly the most solid scene, even dare I say, in the entirety of the series.
Yeah, they're hitting out some bangers this volume.
Yeah, the only downside I could even think of is the fact that like all the pro huntsmen we've met are kind of red shirts.
Yes, they exist solely to be killed. They are.
Of course. If you think about it that way, of course. But
if you think about it that way, though, then Ren's reasoning would be like, yeah, Dan Dudley didn't deserve to be huntsman either.
Yeah, exactly.
Ren has an idealized version of what huntsmen are supposed to be, and
yes, really, I think that's also true.
I wanted the show to do that with RWBY for so long.
Yeah.
Why is it Why isn't Ren getting this development? Why isn't this like a RWBY thing? Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. Honestly, RWBY should have seen that most huntsmen are either A, cannon fodder, or B, good at fighting stuff but incompetent at all other forms of strategic thinking, and been like, yeah, you know what, actually being a huntsman ain't all it's cracked up to be. I don't know how the fuck people can get through 4 years of school for this shit and end up being this shit at their jobs.
Because they're going to school for it, they're not actually fighting.
Hey, and you know what, maybe they won't do that, but maybe they actually will, because like I said, so far this volume has exceeded my expectations by a large margin, right? So you know what? I'm not saying they will for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they just have Ren, see the error, quote unquote error of his ways and go back to agreeing with everybody or something like that. But, they've done a good job so far this volume besides episode 1, and they've kind of already fixed a lot of the issues with episode 1 with just Ren. And in this episode, they basically fixed most of the issues that they had with episode 1, or not fixed them because they shouldn't have been there in the first place, but they've made a list of an issue. So they could actually have RWBY think that way a bit. I'm not saying it's impossible because,
agreements are always best reached when both parties cross the bridge to the middle at the same time rather than just one having to go over.
Yes.
That's always the better way of doing it. And hopefully, like super high hopefully, if they do that with Ren, maybe they could even possibly do it with fucking Ironwood.
Yeah,
that's some pie in the sky fucking dream shit.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's definitely
but
that's some wishful thinking there, but I'd like to see it. I would like to see it. Would be nice. I'm not expecting it, but it would be nice.
Alternate theory, Ironwood calls all of his dudes into the Admiral Dozel meeting to be like, yo guys, we're all war criminals now. We gotta either deal with it or we're all getting hanged.
I guess we're gonna have to deal with it. Oh man, so let's get on to the subject of child abuse. I mean,
I know we meme about Oscar. I felt generally bad. I was like, oh, this is hard to watch.
I could feel the.
She just sandstorming him into the chest.
Yeah.
That was, by the way, that was. I very much enjoyed that scene a lot.
I bet you did.
That was not. That was.
Did you?
That was the actual best scene in the show so far.
It was so hard to watch.
Did you all notice?
It was so enjoyable to watch.
Did you all notice like the angry eyebrow lines they put on her face too during like one of the times?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
no, I was too busy watching Oscar and listening to Oscar.
I only noticed that like on the second time, and I was like, it's like similar souls, two liars there. I think it's funny too how Salem still kind of refers to Ozpin like as they're still like married essentially.
Well, yeah, because it's gonna be the same soul. It's still gonna be the same soul no matter what body you have. It's like, right, name you. It's like, oh, my name is Ozpin. Now it's like, no, you're Ozma.
Although one thing that I'm curious about, and maybe I'm just being dumb, when she said like-minded souls indeed, did she mean like between her and Ozma, or Ozma and his hosts?
I'm
the latter.
Host,
I was thinking the latter as well.
Yeah, I was thinking Ozma and host.
I didn't. My mind didn't even switch over to that at all.
Yeah, I didn't even think.
It seemed pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah, I was more along the lines of like oh, the Hound is being brought back into the plot line.
Like the Hound has always been in the plot line, by which I mean it should have. But
I said the Crown.
Oh my god! I was like,
I said the Crown, not the Hound.
Oh.
The relic of choice.
Oh, the relic of choice. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean by Crown. I didn't say the Hound.
Yeah. The relic of choice. It's got a very good choice going here currently. Okay, because the choice is either say yes to the fat mommy milkers who want to know how to open up the knowledge relic, or get zapped with zappy boys for the next 72 hours.
So that's your choice. You could have avoided this. You could have avoided this feature by simply telling her what Big Mommy Milkers lady wanted to know.
Yeah, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. So one thing that kind of disappointed me about the scene, that like, yeah, everything with Salem and Oscar was pretty good, and then Hazel stepped in and it was just like a downgrade. Like, oh man, you didn't talk from that. Let me hit you with something that doesn't hurt as much as that.
Well, hold up.
I mean, like, to give Salem's like magic a chance, like that not only hurts the body, that hurts the soul.
I will say this: I don't think Salem's magic hurts as much as Hazel's fists. Okay, and
as a man collapsing your rib cage.
Yeah, Salem's magic maybe like a car battery or of some sort that's pumping in like 12 volts into you, variable levels of current. Whereas Hazel punching you, look at that man. He's a fucking beef stick of a man. Okay,
that man is an industrial refrigerator with arms.
If I had to guess what he benches, it would be well over 400.
Yeah, at this point, also Hazel's just not redeemable.
I mean, his motivation kind of does suck, but I mean,
it does.
Let not the sins of Volume 5 plague the highs of Volume 8.
So saith Saint Media.
Hello, small child.
Grim killed my sister.
Other small child.
Yeah, Grim killed my sister, so I'm gonna work for the Queen of Grim.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Seems reasonable. Checks out.
Yeah, that track. But man, when Cinder showed up, like in the very next like scene, like it hard cuts to Salem and the Hound walking, and then Cinder shows up. I was like,
it's happening.
If the Hound just starts shit talking Cinder, I am going to cream my jeans. it didn't end up happening.
Oh man, I wish
it snarled at her and caused her to pee herself a little bit, which was fine, but that only got me at half mast.
Yeah, because it was just mastiff. It's just like, because Cinder's like, the fuck is that?
And
you did get smack talking media, but like it was mostly
also I wanted to say, and then when that happened, I wanted Sailor to be like, "It's a Grim moron. What does it look like?"
Yeah, Salem went to the very high fucking standard route. Okay, she was like, "Well, Cinder, this is my new experimental Grim model. Okay, it's got several upgrades over the previous versions. I highly assure you, it's well within combat capabilities."
And then Salem's like, "Oh no, Tyrion will step in and be like," or maybe even Mercury, seeing as where everyone's at in the opening, be like, "Hey Cinder, remember when you spent like an entire episode struggling with Jean? Well, this thing just bitch slapped Jean and Oscar and also Ren in like 5 seconds, so I think it might be stronger than you."
Yeah, well, I think that's the other thing too. It's like the maidens are like, okay, yeah, the maidens are definitely nowhere near as strong. It's like a group of skilled huntsmen could easily take down a maiden. It's like it's no big deal, and this big scary Grim is like that. And at least Salem's doing like the practical thing with like doing selective breeding of Grim versus what humans like to do with their dogs, and we just get equally more and more autistic and retarded looking dogs. I'm looking at you, bulldogs and pugs. I'm sorry that we ruined your breathing passages. I really am. We're not as good stewards of God's creatures as we think we are.
But yeah, the fucking like I don't know.
I really like Cinder in this episode. I know, like, I really like it when she gets slapped around, but like
Cinder just can't seem to learn her own lesson.
Sure, whatever. Yeah, Cinder's like, "Yeah, sure, Salem, whatever you say." Literally hard cuts to her being like, "Yeah, I know what she says. I don't care."
Yeah.
And Neo's like, "Nah, I ain't doing this."
And then
Neo's smart enough to be like, "I'm just gonna sit here in this whale."
And then Emerald fucking shows up out of nowhere and is like, "I can fucking help you." And Cinder goes, "Ugh, fine. I guess you are my little pog champ."
Come here. The 4K ray tracing version of that WebM is the best version though.
God, there's so many of those now. It's kind of
the Kermit one is the most solid I have seen so far, but there may be a more solid one out there, and I will find it because I have nothing better to do with my time.
Just be sure to share.
Yeah. What else happened? Yeah, so Cinder's gonna go to Amity Coliseum to check on some things. Is she going to get there before the team does?
Oh, definitely.
Because the team is currently in Schnee Manor, being terrible to Whitley.
Well, if that
feeling, there's no sign on the Schnee Manor saying Sneed's feeded seed formerly formerly Sneeze.
What the fuck?
We're Sneed posting now. It's official.
Oh no!
I'm sorry for that derail, but yeah, no, I think. Wait, no, isn't it? Is it? Yeah, no, it's RWBY's team that are going. No, it's RWBY's team that'll eventually end up at Amity Coliseum.
It's probably going to be fairly simultaneous.
They're just gonna land on on two opposite sides of the platform, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
Well, I don't.
I'm in the Cinder first.
Have a reason. Jake's group doesn't have a reason to go to Amity. But yeah, I think maybe Cinder will get there first. Yeah. Although if Cinder gets there first and there's nobody there except for what if like Pietro and Maria are already there and she just like sees them, kills them, heads back, RWBY shows up. What happened?
What happened?
They got killed. Yeah, I mean, like, I think in terms of like getting there, Cinder has better means via having aerial transport and you needing that to get up to Amity just because it floats in the sky. And RWBY and her crew don't have that, but they are within closer range, and they are well known for hijacking shit. And also, like, you know, it's pretty even. But I think, like, with the like small hijacking mission, I would give the edge in arrival time to RWBY and crew, because we've actually seen in this very same episode that Atlas is probably a pretty small place because they were in the very heart of the headquarters before leaving to go to this mansion in the Upper Crustville. So, like, apparently it was close enough to be within, at the very least, running distance. Though I don't think they were going to carry Nora in just like fucking run with her, because that shit.
Yeah,
sucks.
Who knows? Like, Nora could just wake up next episode and be like, "Yeah, I'm good," and then they'll be like, "Okay, well, we're just gonna steal one of Jock's like many, private flying machines and call it a day."
I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting her to be out for a while.
I don't think they can, because Whitley did specifically say that he had to sell off all of their non-liquid assets recently. So, like, I don't know that they actually possess any flying machines anymore.
Wait, did he actually state that they had to sell everything, or was the implication that that there's been a fire sale?
It was that. I mean, it might have just been an implication. He did definitely say all of their staff is now gone.
Well, yeah, because they're evacuating.
Yeah, but like,
well, they're also evacuating to Atlas. Everyone is evacuating to Atlas, though. Like that, like Schnee Manor would actually be realistically.
It should be on
Manor
Atlas.
Schnee Manor should be crawling with refugees right now.
Yeah,
like that should be like where Ironwood is stuffing them. Just if for no other reason than if for no other reason than Jacques being a major reason why all of this is happening.
Well, actually, come to think of it, though, there's another reason why they can't hijack the ship. It's because they don't have a fucking pilot, and they've already been shown to not have piloting skills each on their own, because they needed Maria in the first place.
They've got May.
Well, they have May. Like, yeah, May is the one who piloted the ship to get them out of the military base and into like Schnee Manor in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, no, isn't May with them?
Yeah,
she's with them.
Yeah, she's with them.
So they still have the flying machine.
Yeah, they still have.
So,
but I mean, their goal is to stay in Schnee Manor until Nora recovers. Like, they need a place to lay low before dragging her out to next mission, which would be Amity Coliseum.
They need to keep her in the medical ward before aerially Kazabacking her to the next fight, so that she can get the shit shocked out of her again and used as a rag doll.
Oh no, I don't like this.
Yes. Nora is now the official meat shield for Team Most of RWBY.
That's not the like, I know she's fond of using electricity, but she's not a shock trooper.
I mean, better a shock trooper than a sock trooper. Sock.
No, that's just heresy.
Speaking of shock troopers, Mandalorian this week, dude, Ahsoka was badass. I love this episode.
Yeah, to a certain extent, but like knowing Ahsoka and shit, and knowing fucking Dingerin and both of their skill levels, those two final fight scenes did not hold any tension for me at all. I was like, there's
Oh yeah, but I
no
didn't
way.
care. Yeah, that's fine. Like we kind of knew that. Like the thing that they kind of knew that wasn't like, I think Ahsoka was kind of toying with her because she had to keep her alive. She wasn't going to kill her, so she was kind of going easy on her. That was my thought, at least. And the thing that actually like got me hyped was when she asked. I thought she was going to ask for dude with the dark saber, and she asked for Thrawn. That's what got me hyped. That was pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, like to be fair, the Imperial Guard spear versus lightsaber style, that has been completely just mooked from the first time Yoda walked into a room that had some Imperial Guards in it. So I don't ever expect anybody who uses it to be worthwhile in Star Wars. But I do like that we learned Baby Yoda's name. He will never be referred to that by the fandom, but I do like we learned it.
Yeah.
He
Oh yeah,
will
he's
always.
Baby Yoda forever. That's
I
fine.
mean, same thing with the Mandalorian. Like, I know he has a name, like it's Din Djarin or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually,
He's Mando.
no,
Calls
no,
him
no, no,
that.
no. Well, actually, the entire almost the entirety of the fandom has begun calling him Din Djarin since the end of season 2. And this is
Yeah.
like, I don't usually get involved in fandom stuff, but most people, you got to remember, this is old school Star Wars, having read all of the expanded universe novels crew that like the Mandalorian. That's the main appeal of Mando. Okay, so yes, they will refer to him as Din Djarin.
Yeah, he's usually he's called especially when he's when they're like comparing him to other like Mandalorians and stuff like that. Then he's always called Din Djarin whenever like he's being like his comparison stuff or like when it's like actual discussion.
Anything else about this episode?
Oh yeah, we didn't hit on the fucking I don't think we hit it too hard on the Yang and Jean convo.
Oh yeah, that's right. We haven't.
I mean, I
assume
that's going to come up in the questions.
The Yang and
I'm
Jean
sure it
combo.
does.
Yeah, I'm sure. But,
okay,
I mean,
so
the only thing I was concerned about this entire episode was just like the whole like Willow's like, you need to take care of your brother. Go to your room. It's like, Weiss, please.
Yeah, Weiss, please have some development.
Like Weiss,
you're usually best girl, but like
you're supposed to be best girl. What are you doing?
Yeah, that was dumb. That was really dumb. I did not like that.
Yeah, because
I mean, I'm sure something will come of it in this volume. Hopefully,
I think so too. Yeah, because like stuff we thought wasn't gonna get explained did get explained, so we can assume that will get explained in some ways.
Yeah, because like I don't even like Willie, but like even I could tell like he was still like asking like is there anything I can do? It's like you just being snooty about it, but it's like
yeah,
I'm being snooty about it, but I'm still asking to help.
Yeah,
that was like a more straight up way of going about it. But like, yeah, he fucking got shit canned over it. Apparently, the theme of this episode is that your siblings will still love you no matter how much like shit you treat them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so the Yang and Jean convo, they find that like this little outpost or whatever. Yang finds a part for the bike, and Rain is outside keeping watch. And this also leads to this also leads to the cliffhanger, which someone pointed out in the questions. So we'll get to that when we get to questions. But Yang and Jean are talking, and Yang plays the pronoun game, which is really stupid. I hate the pronoun game in this situation specifically, because the way she talks, it like she's obviously talking about Ruby, right? And it's like, do you think she thinks any less of me for like being out here, uh, trying to like protect the people mantle instead of like trying to save the entire world. And Jean, logistically figures out like, oh, she must be talking about Ruby because that's where all the tension was in the first episode of this volume. Like they're the two that like kind of got into it, and they're also sisters. And that who else would she be talking about? But then he's like, "Don't worry, Ruby's your sister. Just because you have a disagreement doesn't mean she hates you or thinks any less of you." And then Yang goes, "Yeah, Ruby," because she's actually talking about Blake.
And in reality, like Blake probably agrees with like Yang going off to do her own thing is the greater irony in all of this.
I have heard two separate things about both parts of this. Okay, the first is the two separate opinions on the line delivery there. Most seem to be under the impression that the line delivery is precisely what you just said, and that she was actually talking about Blake that whole time and didn't give two fucks about Ruby. Some have said that that was just flawed delivery and she actually was talking about Ruby the whole time, and just it was that slight pause before saying, yeah, Ruby, that kind of led us to the assumption that she wasn't. Second was if you go with the more common assumption on the delivery that it was in fact talking about Blake, not Ruby, then you have the two things of you have one, that this is evidence that Yang does not give a shit about Ruby, and that is bad, and we don't particularly like that Yang doesn't give a shit about her little sister, who she more than likely, due to them not having any mother figure, had to help in rearing and shit like that, and look out for and do things of that nature with her. Or B, that Yang doesn't give a shit about her sister, but it's okay to not give a shit about someone because it doesn't matter how much you don't give a shit about them because they'll still love you back, which is an extremely self-centered and non-transactional way to go about having someone care about you.
Yeah, I think all of those are pretty fucking retarded. I'm not gonna lie. Like, she doesn't have to say, like, she knows Ruby loves her and she loves her back. That doesn't mean like that she's not even putting into question. She loves her sister. Her entire motivation for leaving the fucking house was Ruby. Like, why would she stop hate? Like, why would she like my little sister made some slight bad decisions? Why? Oh, I suddenly fucking hate her. That's fucking
no. It wouldn't be a sudden hate of it. It's more revolving around like her acknowledgement of it at this point. Mind you, like Media said, this is something that John himself looks at and goes, oh, this must be about Ruby because this seems like the most relevant issue at the moment. And if Yang isn't even thinking about this at this point, and her focus is entirely upon the chick she likes, then okay, you've basically abandoned all worry about your family over a chick you like, from what people have said, because of the reason that that's an okay thing to do. Because why the fuck would you care about your family? Because they're going to care about you no matter what, so you cannot give a shit about them. It's perfectly fine to not give a shit about your own family who cares about you.
I'm gonna be a little bit more positive on this scene, actually, because the way I interpret it, and I'm not saying I'm right for sure, okay? So I could be wrong. But the way I interpreted it, and I have issues with this as well, so let me get to that too. But like the way I interpret it was that it's not that she's not worried about Ruby not, thinking less of her or whatever, because she knows that they're basically, they're sisters and they'll get along. I don't think that Yang really thinks that she's treating Ruby like shit. I think she just thinks that they just disagree. Right. And I think Yang's wrong, obviously. Like, I expressed that in when we talked about episode 1, that obviously Yang has no good reason to be upset at Ruby. I mean, shit, Ren gave a better reason to be upset at Ruby than Yang has at this point, right?
Yeah.
My point is just that I think that's the way she's thinking. she's thinking like, I'm not worried about Ruby, like, because she's my sister, we'll make up somehow. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that she doesn't care at all. It's that she just knows they have that relationship, right? They've already gone through that before, right? In this show. So that's why I think she's not worried about that specifically. And I also think they're trying to bring back the whole Bumblebee thing. And there's, I'm in two minds about this because, I have shipped Bumblebee since volume 2 or 3 or whatever it is. It's been a long time, right?
It was 2,
So
probably. That's where
it was
everybody
probably
started.
2. Yeah. So, I not that I'm anti-Black Sun or whatever. We've talked about this
It
many
ain't
times,
fucking
but
happening. You might as well be. Nobody's going
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
You're basically you're mag dumping into a dead horse if you call yourself an anti-Black Sun person. That thing died a long time ago.
Yeah.
The corpse is rotten. You're currently mag dumping into nothing. Congratulations. Ooh. Oh, this is happening instead of Black Sun. Bet you feel bad now, Black Sun shippers who don't exist anymore.
Anyway, my point is,
imagine being a Black Sun shipper in 2021/2020.
The issue is that if they try to do these little hints at Bumblebee again and don't follow through with it, and I said this before the podcast, if they keep doing that, then it's queer baiting and it's getting annoying. Like they bait ships. It's bad enough you bait any ship, but it is kind of arguably worse if you do it to this at this point, especially when, as Coop points out, there's no competition left. Black Sun is dead. Like, and I'm not dancing on its grave because I would have been fine if they went with Black Sun, honestly. But they're clearly not. It seems very obvious that ship is completely dead, right? So, not actually doing like at least with Ren and Nora right now, they're making they're very obviously progressing that relationship in some way, right? They kissed. Ren is hesitant because of the Neo thing. Then he's upset because they disagree on how to handle all of this based on their past. Blah blah blah. He's pushing her away. She's trying to get closer to him. It needs to come to a head, and they're discussing his issues right now in this episode, right? So clearly they are progressing that relationship in some way. There will be a conclusion with that relationship, right? So we're fine with that. It's not baiting anymore. They're in the title sequence, like looking away from each other like a bunch of times. It's clearly going to be addressed. But with Bumblebee, they keep giving us little dabs and shit. Like, you need to actually deal with it at this point. You can't stop just teasing it and fucking deal with it, like with Renora.
Like,
right?
Bumblebee needs to kiss, or like just put it in the dumpster. Like, just forget about it.
Exactly. Fucking make a goddamn decision already. It's bad writing either way, but like I can understand, like, because I've had this conversation with somebody else where they really did a better job of explaining the issue with queer baiting to me than I understood previously. Because, like, first of all, I want them to address it either because it's relationship baiting either way, and I hate that because relationships need to be addressed, right? I'm a hopeless romantic. All the anime that I watch and manga that I read is basically romance and that kind of stuff, right? So that's the kind of person I am. So that's my preference, right? But not just that. Like, so at least, like, okay, let's say they don't address Renora, right? That's dumb. But at least I have other shows and ships that I can like enjoy, and at least they finished those, right? I can go back to Toradora. I can go back to Ori Monogatari, my love story, stuff like that. Quince, right? All that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
If you're gay, you don't have as much of that. Like, very little, if any, actually, to go back on. So like when somebody ship baits a gay ship, it is kind of worse than if you're ship baiting a straight ship, right? So it's kind of like, we talked about this again before the podcast, like with fucking Avatar Korra, right?
Yeah.
Make a goddamn decision and stick with it. Like, stop teasing shit. Like, you guys got to actually do something with this. If you're gonna put this scene in, then fucking do something with it. And if they don't within this volume, then it's really dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it may come along. Who knows? As far as that goes, I'm more concerned with it just being Then I'm not so much concerned with the ship bait because I've seen a shit ton of it already happen. Like the seeds for this thing has been sown for like what 3 fucking years now, at least, and like I'm not worried about it being another hint thrown that direction. I'm worried about the hint in the way that it was thrown and how it probably should not have been thrown in this particular scenario. Because, like, well, first off, while I do buy that Ruby would behave towards Yang in the way that everybody says, where like, yeah, they'll make up no matter what, that's that's not a good thing to put out there necessarily of for everybody out in the real shit of life and stuff, because your your sibling is not necessarily going to always love you, even though you are really close to each other, if you act like you don't care about them constantly. Eventually, even if you have a sibling who loves you and will love you regardless of how little you seem to think about them, that love will fade as soon as they stop getting returns on it that are satisfactory. Eventually, they'll be like, why do I even fucking bother? And you should, like, if they stomp that out really quick in this volume, I won't fucking hold it against them. But if they don't, then I'll be like, this is not a good message to be sending to kids. Like,
yeah, I agree with that. Like, the reason why I said I'm being more positive on that specific aspect is because I don't think that that's the way Yang's thinking. Like that,
because it's not that serious. It's not
yeah, exactly. But if it is, then yes, I entirely agree with Coop that is a horrible message, and Yang's a piece of shit for thinking that way.
Yeah, because like I have a little sister, and like no matter how badly we get into it, like I would never stop loving her. Like it would take something
I mean,
fucking ridiculous for that to happen.
I mean, admittedly, like again, this with me, like having, I think it kind of, the fact that it came even close to that for me was what kind of set me off towards it. Because like my mom died when I was 12, and I had a little sister and I had a dad, so I was in almost the exact same situation as Yang, even with the age gap between me and my sister. And I was like a piece of shit who got into fights a lot too. So me and Yang, like, there's a lot of relatability between me and Yang, and I would never the fuck act like Yang was, even over some chick I liked. And there have been many chicks whom I have liked.
So I think that covers it. Are we ready for questions now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, let me pull these up because we got quite a few.
Oh no.
So sorry, I had to grab my phone. GQ Smith asked, do you think it's bad Weiss is treating Whitley like shit despite her mother telling her acting hostile toward her because she left him with his father? Or given the circumstances, is it better to fix their relationship later? Yes, I think it is bad, but I think they're doing it on purpose because I think we're gonna have kind of a character arc.
They're gonna have to, they're gonna cross that bridge. They're just setting it up, I think.
Yeah.
Watch them just do a sibling episode where it's Yang and Ruby, and then also Whitley and Louise.
I would actually like that. I would actually really
just
like
imagine a double date where it's like Yang gets Whitley and then Ruby gets Weiss. Oh man.
Yeah, the only thing about that I didn't really like was, again, both sides aren't simultaneously crossing the bridge there. Yeah, Whitley did actually offer out his hand to help, and Weiss has already been talked to about this by her mother,
Mm-hmm.
and so the fact that she reacted in that way doesn't really seem to have been a good route for her to go down. You might be like, oh, it's a stressful situation or whatever, she's just lashing out or whatever, which is not good, but at least it's sensical. But like, I would have expected Weiss to maybe start off by saying, hey, go to your room, and then like catch herself. That would have been a really good way to do it.
Yeah.
Or just go to your room for now. We'll talk later for a bit.
Something like that, or just be like, go to your room, and then be like, actually, no, don't do that. We do need help. Like something along those lines. That I think would have been a slight increase over that.
Yeah, like this was like Weiss is supposed to be the mature one here. What is going on?
Like the fact that Whitley mentioned their mom locked in their room. I think probably should have like connected a few synapses in Weiss's brain over it.
Yeah.
Like
It's like, oh, she's like, Willow's doing the same shit again. Like she's got good advice, but she's not acting on her own shit too.
yeah.
Okay, so Blade Charge asked about the RWBY scene. We kind of already answered that though.
Yeah, I figured most of the questions would be just about that.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. D Fly High asked who is in the right, Ren or Yang? Yang
Yes.
didn't really his argument, so I have to go with Ren.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ren's in the right.
I'm gonna go with Ren as well.
Yang just went for a
The
low
real
blow
answer-
afterwards, being like, "Yeah, well, you ain't got no GF, bitch. Get the fuck out." Actually, you know
real
what? Now that I
answer-
think about it,
Real answer is Jean, because he's like,
yeah.
okay, you whether or not we are ready to be huntsmen doesn't matter. We need to get out of this cold, or we are going to die.
I'm like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. John for best girl in this episode.
Let's go.
I will
John is
actually,
best
you know
girl.
what? Just
Oof.
for the purpose of being contrarian, I will say that Yang did blow Rin out by calling him a simp. So I go with Yang now over it. Fuck all y'all haters. Yes, Queen Slay.
Did not think I would hear Coop say yes, Queen Slay tonight.
Oh no.
No, he didn't say yes, Queen Slay. He said yas, Queen Slay. He went all out. He went all out.
No, get that
I'll-
global
I'll
homo
just-
stuff
Not
out
the
of
Yes
here.
Queen Slay to me, which I was there when it was written.
Yeah, but it's not like the usual yas you get. It's like that one. It's like that one kid who got like with the basketball hoop thing and gets back on his head. He's like, yeah.
All right. So Aljax asked any opinions on the song we got this episode. Honestly, it was in one ear and out the other. I watched this episode twice, and I just now remember that there's a song in it.
I just heard.
I was too focused on the action. I didn't hear the music.
I heard grunge butt metal, and that was about it.
Yeah, it's just more butt metal. I mean,
The song
I
has
had to listen
been.
to it again.
The song has really it's dropped off. The music quality, like
really has.
they are just too fucking chained to that genre, and they need to branch out and do some fucking like I don't know.
Give me more Caleb.
I'm
Give me
pretty
more
certain.
Caleb.
I'm pretty certain they could just
No.
hire someone.
Caleb,
Like
they did.
just hire
They
like a
literally
random.
hired Caleb.
Yeah, he's a hero.
Just hire some random like intern that has a MIDI keyboard and have them do like a sick techno track and call it a day. Something different, please.
Fuck it, like hire Wooly. He spat better bars on the Knuckles song than this shit. Like what's
Yes, please. Just have Wooly work for Rooster Teeth just so I could drive down to Austin to visit him.
I would drive down to Austin to visit Wooly, and I live in fucking North Carolina. Fuck, man.
Be
That
like,
dude's cool
Wooly,
as
get
shit.
out of your house. We're having a kegger right now as you're just unrolling kegs from the back of your truck. And he's like, who's this crazy white person, Pat? Help me. And Pat's like, I don't know, man. I'm stuck here in my cave with my redheaded autistic GF.
Yeah. So Vaishni asked 2 questions. What do you think Tyrion and Mercury's roles will be this season? I think they're both just going to be hanging out with Salem. They're both with her. They're both with her in the OP, whereas Emerald and Neo are with Cinder. And I think Mercury might end up being the one who rats on Cinder. If she does go come,
that wouldn't
leave and
surprise
come back before
me.
Salem notices. Mercury will be like, "Yeah, her and Emerald were kind of gone for a while last night. You might want to spank her publicly, preferably."
What I think will happen is that Tyrion and Mercury will be more means by which Salem uses to torture Oscar. Hopefully they are, because as you know, you can't just keep dealing out the same kind of torture. You got to mix it up a little when you're interrogating a prisoner, guys.
Yeah, you gotta build a relationship with the person that you're interrogating. If they don't like tarantulas, just spill a jar of tarantulas in their in their cell.
Exactly.
It'll just be my. It'll just be my.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Wait, instead of my arms, I can use my legs.
You have to use the traditional interrogation method. Good cop, bad cop, worse cop, even worse cup. Holy shit, where are they getting all of these terrible cops?
Probably Minnesota.
Oh.
Topical.
Oh.
So, by the way, if any artists out there want to draw me a picture of Salem bending Cinder over her knee and spanking her, I will very much appreciate it. I don't have any money,
Media, I'm
but I will give
98%
you all my
certain
love.
that Omnipotent has probably drawn that
Yeah,
image already.
that sounds like some.
That sounds like
sounds
some
exactly.
Omnipotence than what he would draw right
Yeah.
there.
And if it already
I am
exists,
almost.
then just send it to me either through Twitter or through Discord. If you're on the Discord, which you should join for free, link in the description.
Unlike other Discords that are
I
out
think
there.
Omnipotent has literally drawn almost every RWBY girl getting bent over and spanked at some point by some other character. I can almost guarantee that by now. And we're talking like full roster too. We're talking side characters, we're talking everybody. I am reasonably certain that a fat ass being on a woman means it has been spanked in an Omnipotent picture.
Yes. And also because Omnipotent, Crow is Weiss's dad. Don't at me.
That was funny. That actually inspires something that's going to be in my book series later on. And then Weiss's second question is more of an observation and prediction that I agree with. Do you think the ice cracking at the end was the sulfurfish Grimm that won the Rooster Teeth contest? Yes, absolutely.
Probably.
This would be the perfect time to have them. We're a quarter of the way, we're a third of the way through the volume now. We haven't seen the Grimm contest winner yet. And it would be really, it would be better to have this fan creation used in an action scene where it's not really about the Grimm. It'll be more about like just giving Yang's group a fight and then maybe some character development through that fight. Hello? Am I still here?
Yes.
Yes.
What was the
I
question
didn't hear
again?
part of that. I didn't hear part of that.
Do you think the ice cracking at the end was the Sulfurfish Grimm that won the Grimm contest earlier?
There was a contest?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a contest.
Yeah, for
for
Full Sail University, I think. Yeah, okay. So I don't know if we mentioned this on a podcast at all, but yeah, there's an art contest hosted by a university and Rooster Teeth to design a Grimm that would be used in this volume. And there was controversy because SJWs have to ruin everything. And the thing that was winning was a Wendigo Grimm, but then people were like, "Oh, that's too offensive to Native Americans who don't watch the show." And so they ended up going with because the second place winner was like a hag or whatever, which people thought was offensive to, I don't know, Celts, I guess. And then so they ended up going with just this sulfurfish looking Grimm that, like, I guess
now I have to
spews
Google what a
acid or something.
sulfurfish looks like.
Hold up, wait. The offensive to Celts.
I don't know.
I mean, okay. I mean, like, admittedly, I'm Scotch Irish from the foothills of Appalachia, but fucking, I don't think I've ever been offended at anything said about the Celtic heritage. Partly because half of the fucking writings about all that shit were either burnt or rewritten by the Christians who fucking came into Ireland and shit. Nobody knows jack shit about the Tuatha De Danann. Like, who's even offended by anti-Celt stuff?
Apparently, some people.
But like, I don't understand it myself. I was just
like,
just like.
I mean, like, this would be very different if it were during the time of Troubles. Then I would be shouting to "Come out, you black and tans! Come out and fight me like a man!" But like, this is a completely separate issue here.
It was stupid. Like, you have the people who are offended, and you got Rooster Teeth, and then you got the people who are just like, "What? I don't understand. Why is this a thing?"
Yeah. So yeah, I do think that it just makes sense to have them.
Yep, it makes sense
now.
that's the thing. Yep.
Especially, I mean, it's already confirmed that it will show up in this volume, and I do think this is just
might as well show up tomorrow.
Yeah. And then last question, Sean Resendez asked, "Do you think the Schnee Mansion will get attacked? And if so, what do you think Willow and Whitley will do?" don't think so, honestly. I think
No,
this is going to be downtime for Ruby's group.
could very
Yeah,
well be.
agreed. That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah,
To be
Now
honest,
that-
with you.
now
time
that-
to air it out.
That said, I will say this: any fight scene that has ever taken place inside a mansion in the history of cinema has usually been pretty kino. Like, so I would not mind if it went that way at all.
No, same, but I just don't expect it to. I guess is what I'm saying.
They have chandeliers, dude. That right there just makes a fight scene. There's no other way around it. You have
The
a
last
large,
time-
heavy object hanging from a ceiling.
Yes,
Drop
Cooper. Do you remember the last time Ruby had a fight scene inside of a building, and do you remember how terrible that fight scene was?
No chandeliers, that's why. Boom, checkmate.
Checkmate, atheist.
Fair.
Yes, all Volume 5 needed was a chandelier. So that's it for questions. Any other comments before we wrap this up?
It was good. I'm still
Yeah.
shocked. A good episode.
of the volume, best episode of the volume, I think.
Are we getting
Yeah,
another- are we
it's,
getting
it's
another
pretty
episode before
good.
the break?
We have
One of their better
Yeah,
episodes.
we should be
period.
getting.
I'm
We
just
should be
happy.
getting. Yeah, we should be getting like three more episodes before Christmas. Christmas is the only time that they're taking off.
what? Who
Oh,
wants?
because they didn't do a Thanksgiving. I thought they did a Thanksgiving.
I mean,
No,
yeah,
they haven't done that
Yeah, they haven't
before.
done that in a while.
Ah,
I think it was
Yeah.
Volume 3 or whatever. They like went on hiatus for like a month.
Yeah,
yeah. I think it's just week long. But you know what? Like I said before, we've reached click 3 on our Deer Hunter revolver, guys. So place your bets now if click 4 will be the one that sets off the round we got in the chamber.
yes. Alright, if you like this video and you want to see more, like, comment, and subscribe, consider supporting me on Patreon. Join the Discord. Links up for those are in the description. And hit that bell icon, and maybe even follow me on Twitter. And that's it.
Alrighty. Well, I hope
Mm.
you all have a good night. I hope you all had a safe
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
You too.
Yeah,
Bye.
take it easy.
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.